If there's one thing a lot of people in the self-improvement space talk about but don't really explain, it's being more disciplined and being less emotional or controlling your emotions. Well, this is actually a very necessary thing, of course, but it's not very explained really well, because discipline and emotions, they are very connected. But how can you be less emotional to become more disciplined? That's what we're gonna explain in this video. Because if you can control your emotions more, you can do the hard work way easier, even if you don't feel like it. And yes, it's necessary as a man to be able to control your emotions, especially when you're on self-improvement. Because if you can't control your emotions, you're not able to do the hard work when you don't feel like it, which means you're gonna be less disciplined. But how do we actually go to controlling our emotions? That's what we're gonna explain in this video. First off, let's start with my story, because I used to be a very angry, emotional kid. I either was very upset, or I started screaming real quick, became angry real quick, and started feeling more and more depressed, which means I did less and less and less because I let my emotions control me. If you let your emotions control you, you're not gonna win in life. When you start controlling your actions, which can in turn control what you do with these emotions, then you can actually start doing the hard work when you don't feel like it. So let's actually get into this video, because I'm not one of those YouTubers that waste your time with like a 5-minute Tish Henley advertisement in the middle. So how did I actually come to this? Because, well, I fixed it, but how? It's basically one sentence: the art of being stoic. Stoicism is a very frequently used term. It's also a very controversial term. But let me actually explain the importance of stoicism and why it's not actually a bad thing to have as a man. Because when you can control your emotions in a term, because controlling your emotions is not possible, but you can control your actions, and by controlling your actions you can control what you do with your emotions. That's basically what stoicism is. In terms, gives you a lot of benefits, not only on self-improvement, but also in a social setting, also in a disciplined setting. But how do we actually go to mastering stoicism, or at least get better at it? These are 3 steps that I took that made me way more stoic, being able to control what I do with these emotions. Step number 1, the most important foundation of stoicism in my opinion: the art of acceptance. The art of accepting what is and what you can change and what you can't change. This all comes down to what you can actually control and what you can't control. Because a lot of people will get very emotional or upset about the fact that someone hurt them or something happened outside of their control. Because quite frankly, the only thing you can control is your actions. Even your emotions you cannot control. You can control what you do with them. And if you start accepting those things, start accepting that you can have bad days. Start accepting that it is raining outside. Start accepting that the video might do worse. For me, at least, that was a very hard thing. Start accepting what other people say, do, and think about you. If you can accept those things, accept that you can't control it. You don't? Of course you can get angry at it. But if you accept it, you can find a lot more peace within yourself and also stop thinking about it. Because when you accept something as is, so accept that you can't control it and you control your action with it, that you just keep going with what you're doing. That way you're already way more steps ahead of most people, and that will boost your discipline and it boosts you in a social setting. Because if someone curses you out but you accept that you can't control it and you accept that you control your actions, that way your social setting will also be way better. Step number 2, develop mindfulness. Let's go outside for this one. So why go outside? Is your question probably, because you probably think that being mindful, being present is only done by meditation, right? You are correct in some points, because meditation is mindfulness. Becoming mindful, basically being able to control your emotions. That's what meditation does to you when you do it consistently every day for at least 10 minutes. This is something that really worked for me. Meditation, but also something else, and that's why we are outside right now. Being outside without your phone, so don't take your phone with you when you're outside. That's a really important tip about this. Going outside means that you're gonna be way more mindful and present. Why? When you're going outside without your phone, and I said going outside a lot of course. First of all, you're taking a vitamin D, which is really important to controlling your emotions as well, because it can really reflect on your mood when you have too low vitamin D. Also, when you're outside, you can look around you, look at nature, and just be in the moment, which is really hard for a lot of people. But being in the moment when you're outside is actually very, very pleasant, as well as it makes you stoic, because it makes you more mindful. Being able to live in the moment and trying to teach this to yourself by going outside, by meditating, which is gonna mean that you're gonna be more mindful. And being mindful reflects on being more stoic, because you can control your emotions way more when you're mindful. Because you can control what you do with the emotions and where you put them in your head. And also, what's really nice about being outside except for the fact that it gives you a lot of stoicism, is just seeing nature, be nature. That's why I recommend not going with your phone. Going without your phone is gonna make us feel more natural, gonna make us feel more like a human being. What I would recommend when you go outside, do this in the morning, because having morning sunlight, even if it's cloudy, sunlight is present. First of all, it will boost your day, but it will also help you to boost your entire life. Morning sunlight is very important for rhythm, for being happy, and for being able to do the things that you don't feel like doing. Go outside, my bros. Alright, let's get back. Step number 3. Practice to see the worst outcome, but also your best outcome. What do I mean with that? I am right now reading the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, written by Tim Ferriss. And he has something in there that actually is very connected to Stoicism. And that is thinking about the outcome, the worst and the best, so fully polarized outcomes of something that you would do, an action you would do. For me, that was maybe with YouTube. What is the worst outcome? That I will feel, that people will not recognize me, and that I wasted a lot of time. Wasted in keywords, of course. What's the best outcome? That I will succeed, that I will be able to make the brands that I make. One brand that comes to mind is Lifters Utopia NL. Right now I'm gonna pre-workout brand. I'm gonna put it out in the Netherlands. Keep up to date for that one. Lifters Utopia, Instagram. Quick sponsor. And that I'm gonna be famous and recognized and I can help people. Those are the best outcomes. So if you have those polarized, you can really start thinking about both of them. And what I did is wrote them down before I started this YouTube channel. Also, I do this with almost every important action I do. When you write those down, you can start reflecting on this and you can be able to control what you do and your emotion way more, because you were already reflecting on this. Controlling your emotion all comes down to controlling your actions, because as I already said, controlling your emotions is not actually possible. This is an extra step. You have to control your actions, because use your emotions as a fuel. You can use every emotion as a fuel. Sadness, anger, happiness, gratefulness, all those emotions and way more. You're able to use it as fuel to become better at what you want to do, if you use it in your action. Emotion is very powerful. It doesn't matter what emotion it is. Emotion can never be removed. Emotion can only be reflected differently. So if you start doing this and start reflecting emotions towards different things, that way you're able to actually be more stoic and control your emotion. So doing these 3 actionable steps, that's really important. If you start doing that, that way you're able to be more stoic.